Hello, and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. If you want to join me on my live stream, the link is in the description and the comments below. I'm streaming on my backup channel, Good Free Photos channel. Please follow that link. Also, check out my Crypto Daily Updates channel. One great crypto video a day for all the day's great crypto news. So let's actually talk about crypto. Is it better unregulated or regulated? So there's arguments to be made for both. Crypto in its ideal state is somewhat unregulated because it's created to be outside the control of the banks. And we know that the banks have a lot of power within Congress and the government for lobbying power. Yeah, I hate the way our government's really set up with lobbies. I think lobbies should almost pretty much be illegal. I think Citizens United is completely a crap act, basically, and it should be repealed. But that's in my ideal world. I am not your benevolent dictator, unfortunately, and I cannot actually undo those things. So the thing is, because banks have such a huge control over government and there's always lobbies, regulated crypto really means kind of like suppress crypto, because the banking sector is going to try to dominate crypto if we have regulated crypto. On the other hand, unregulated crypto basically means rampant scams, regulation, unregulated trades, tax evasion and stuff like that. And that does kind of threaten how a country actually runs. Yes, a lot of you are against taxes, but no, taxes are completely constitutional. It's actually written in the Constitution. They actually amended it for Congress to actually allow Congress to get income taxes. And in the first original documents, Congress does have the power to levy taxes. It didn't specify what kind of taxes, but Congress does indeed have the power to levy taxes. So taxes are completely constitutional. We had a government without taxes, and that was called the Articles of Confederation, and that fell apart after a year, mainly because the federal government couldn't levy taxes, so they can never raise funds to do much of anything. People are like, well, the government's not producing anything. I'm like, well, yeah, the government's not producing you anything because the government doesn't have any money, you dumbasses. Obviously, it can't do anything for you. So if the government doesn't levy taxes, it doesn't have any money. And obviously, as we figured out back in the 1700s, that basically gets people to revolt because the government can't actually provide them with any goods or services or even protection. Because since the government didn't really have any money, British warships were always impressing our merchants and basically forced them to serve as British sailors. So obviously the government does need some revenue. Now, is the government overtaxing people? We can argue that back and forth all day. Are they using taxes in the correct way? I don't think so, but that's also very nuanced because essentially some people want the money to be spent on this, some people want the money to be spent on that. You can't really please everyone. So that can be argued back and forth. But yes, the government does actually have, it's perfectly legal and moral for the government to levy taxes. And if you are on the biblical principle, give to Caesar what is Caesar's and give God to what's God's. So tithing does not negate your need to actually pay taxes to the government. So let's get that out of the way. Regulated crypto, like I said, has many problems. Really, the banking sector just has way too much influence on regulated crypto. And eventually it'll pivot to where the banks have all the power again, thereby negating crypto's point in the first place. Now, for investors, that's not such a problem because, they want their cryptos to be adopted by banks, so they're going to want regulation. So the thing is, if you're not an idealist and you're just in it for money, you want regulation. Regulation means mainstream adoption. It means mass adoption. It means more people will actually trust crypto so you can actually make money. So if you're on the investing side and just want to make money, you want regulation. You want your cryptos to be regulation compliant, unless you're basically doing pump and dump scams. Then you don't really care either way because you're basically just in it for 2 weeks and getting out. I'm not in there. But I'm more on the investor side. So I want crypto to have regulation. I want mass adoption because there's really no way that Amazon or Walmart's going to accept a crypto that isn't regulated. So I really I want crypto to get regulation so it can be adopted by these big franchises. It can actually be used for day-to-day business. And it's completely government compliant, so the IRS or the SEC doesn't come knocking on my door. So that's the thing for for investors. You generally are pro crypto regulation, unless it actually is detrimental to unless it's banning crypto, which would be detrimental to your profits. If you want crypto to if you're also a usage person for crypto, you're not an idealist. You just want crypto to be used for faster transactions. Faster, safer, more secure transactions, you also want regulation. Because the thing is, if it's not regulated, there's going to be too many scams. And if someone cheats you, you really have no recourse if it's not regulated because you go to the government, they're like, not our deal. You didn't want us to regulate it. So you can go complain to whoever screwed you, which they're not going to really reply to you either. So basically, like, if you're in the I want to make money off of this camp, or I want to use this for fast, safe transactions camp, you generally want regulations as long as they're not over oppressive. Now, if you're the idealist, you don't want regulations, obviously, because crypto is supposed to be like freedom or whatever. Crypto is supposed to be freedom from the traditional banking system. And I can respect that because realistically, although it's not really in my vision, if you don't want the government like watching your transactions, you don't want them to know your financial activities. A lot of that will be for money laundering if you're really that much against it, but there is the privacy aspect of it too. So you don't really want regulations because regulations are most likely going to be all KYC AML, and that will not allow you to get away with any kind of tax evasion or money laundering, but it also will pretty much kill transparency in crypto. Now, crypto will actually, like, having crypto will be even more transparent to government than regular money because it's actually kind of hard to track paper bills. And if it's all electronically tracked, you can always look at the electronic records and retrace to the source. So if you're really an idealist, or if you're a criminal or a tax launderer, obviously you don't want regulations. And that's where Monero actually comes in. So what do I see for the future of crypto? I do see a dual market, kind of like the black market and the market that's out in the light right now, honestly. The black market will use coins like Monero, maybe like another version of Zcash that's all private, where it's just transacting on the private network. And that kind of market will always be kind of shady and have some kind of danger, and also like have a very little liquidity, honestly. Like, you can actually make money off of it, don't get me wrong. There'll still be like billions of dollars flowing around, but it won't have the same access to liquidity as like the more market that's in the light, the broader market that everyone is using. The broader market will be the one where all the DCEPs, or the national cryptocurrencies, which I think will actually occur, the national CBDCs, will actually come out. And those will be like traded on that market. That market won't be available to like the darknet, which is Monero, might be Monero and other cryptocurrencies. But there will be cash out spots for the darknet as well. So it'll be kind of like, like just the regular society, and then kind of like the underworld where they have one or two cryptos. Now, those one or two cryptos that actually that serve the underworld will actually be quite popular. And they will be worth a lot, and there will be enough cash outs for them. Although if the authorities catching you cashing out a decent amount in that particular cryptocurrency, they're probably going to keep you under their tabs, and they're going to watch you. So for the idealists, that actually might end up being the case right there. Now, I'm sure governments and like big business, they'll have their own private versions of crypto, which they operate on. But for the general public like us, we're going to have to transact either using Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, or one of these cryptos that's actually out in the light, that's actually very traceable. Most people won't mind that because a lot of society don't even mind it having a chip implemented in them. And if they don't mind that, they're not going to mind like having their transactions transparent to the government, because most people don't really have much to hide anyways. Your average Joe basically just gets his salary, buys a 6-pack of beer at the market, so he's not going to give a crap whether the government knows he's buying a 6-pack at the market or not, because he's over 21, hopefully. I'm pretty sure he is for the most part. And whether the government knows where he's buying a beer or not is really not going to matter to him. That's definitely not good for the idealists. But I think the idealists will have their own little crypto world where they're kind of like dodging government regulations and going like underground. So I do think eventually like the idealists who really want the privacy stuff will eventually go underground. And then like most of the crypto world will actually be highly adopted, but regulated as well. And it'll be even like less privacy than we have now, because paper bills are much harder to track than crypto. So that's what I actually see of the cryptocurrency market. I see both sides of it. And I think, like, if you want, I don't invest in privacy coins, but if you want to invest in Monero or Zcash, you're going to have to pick the right ones. And there's only going to be one or two of them that really proliferate throughout the darknet in the future. So that's what I see for the crypto. That's what I see for the crypto world in the future. Let me know if you agree with me, like and subscribe, and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.